Hey guys, ECRG here. Today we're going to be talking about providing performance feedback. Hey guys, ECRG here. Today we're going to be talking about providing performance feedback. Now, every year companies will have somebody, usually the manager, reach out to people that you work with to determine how you've been doing over the course of the year, the month, or however long you've been at that company. And this is usually a determining factor in if you're going to get that raise that you've wanted, if you're going to get that promotion that you've wanted. They want to know how you are viewed in the eyes of the people you've been working the most close with. So every company does this, especially in clinical research. This happens. And since this is so critical, and a lot of people may not know about this, especially if you watch these videos and you're in college or you're just starting your first real big boy, big girl job. So we want to talk about this today and how to be effective at providing good feedback and what to say, what not to say. So this is going to be kind of biased. This is how I do things. There could be different ways, there could be different approaches, and I'll leave that to you guys to comment down below. What you guys think about that and your different ways and approaches of doing this. But my thing is, I always want to be positive. And that's because a great mentor once told me that you should never be negative in corporate America. You should never be, say something you're going to regret saying in corporate America, especially on a performance review, because it will be used against you. And two, your anonymity may not be kept secret and it may be tied back to you. So you want to be careful of that when doing your performance reviews. Now, it's supposed to be anonymous, but there are times where if you're talking about a certain thing, the person may know exactly who you're talking about or who they're talking about. So a lot of times they're not anonymous. They may know. And even though it may not be confirmed that it was you, they know it was you. And there's a good chance that they're going to exact some kind of revenge on you because people are petty. This is corporate America we're talking about. So how do you provide good performance feedback? So what I try and do is just think honestly about the positive things that person has done over the course that you've been working with them or since they've been at the company. And I like to just pound the positives, man. If they're great at communication, I just talk about their communication. Try and give an example if I can where their good communication was great. If they were good at, balancing the finances on a project, then I'm going to talk about the finances. Pretty much, I just want to be as positive as possible because I believe more in doubling down on your positives and your strengths than I do bringing up your weaknesses so much because I think it's going to be diminishing returns, working on your weaknesses. Whereas on your strengths, you could be the Michael Jordan of all of your strengths. You could be so good at them. And, each person is only going to be, nobody's good at everything. So each person has their strengths and their weaknesses. So why not just be extra good at your strengths? So I typically just pound those strengths. There may be 3 or 4 things that someone's really good at, and I'll talk about that in the performance review. And now it also depends on the type of performance review. Most people will do a qualitative performance review where they will list out some attributes like teamwork, attention to detail, responds in a timely manner, or something like that. And you'll have to go in there and write it in by words. Some people will do a quantitative performance review where they have all those things and you have to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. So I prefer the qualitative ones because you can give examples. You can provide real feedback. So I talk about the positive things. And I don't usually talk about areas for improvement because that's very relative. That's very subjective. And, it could be, that one person was having a bad day that day and they messed up. That's not the course. That's not their whole, performance evaluation. It can really tarnish their performance evaluation because these things are so subjective that, if it may be on there and the person and the manager may think they do this all the time and it was just a one-time thing. So I tend to really stay away from putting anything negative on these things. Like I said before, it may be tied back to you and you don't want that you don't want the person to, know who said anything about you. But also, I mean, most of the time people aren't really doing terrible things. And if that's the case, their boss or the manager probably knows, the team already probably knows. And in that case, I may say something, but I would spin it into a more positive thing. Like, for example, if the person is, always late to work, I wouldn't say like, man, this person sucks, they always come in late to work. I would try and spin it into something like, I would prefer if this person, came in on time because they have the meeting or something like that. I wouldn't want to, really like bash this person in their performance review unless it was a huge problem. And also you want to make sure that you are saying it in a way that you wouldn't mind them saying it to your face or them attributing it to you, because that happens sometimes. Sometimes managers drop the ball and they may slip up and say your name, or like I said, there may be a situation where it could only have been you who said something about them. So make sure it's said in a way in which they're not going to be offended when you say it. So that's another reason why I tend to stick to positive things. And, a lot can be thought of as by what you leave out as well. So, if you're only talking about some things that aren't really applicable to the job or are really kind of peripheral tasks to the actual job, then the manager's going to notice like, hey, wow, they're good at things that aren't peculiar to the job. And that's interesting. So that's what I would say. Just be positive as possible on these performance reviews, because you want people to be positive to you on yours, and, not necessarily to just hear positive things about it, but more so people can know what they're really good at and focus on those things. And obviously I would use the time more face-to-face time if they're really dropping the ball on something, to really talk about something that they can improve on. And if it becomes a really, really big issue, then you can mention it on the performance review, but just make sure that the person may know it beforehand and it doesn't come as a shocking surprise, because there's nothing worse for someone when they're hearing something for the first time on a performance review, something that is saved in their file and used for promotional purposes. So make sure that they know it, they've heard it before, so it's not something new smacking them in the face. So those are the tips I have. Basically, be positive as possible when providing performance feedbacks. Make sure that if you're saying anything negative, that they know it. You've either said it face to face or through email, or you've mentioned it to them where they can improve in the past. But I think it's more important for people to double down, triple down on their strengths so they know what they're good at. And I think it's more so diminishing returns if you focus on your weaknesses, because they're your weaknesses for a reason. So that's it for today's video, guys. I'm curious what you guys think. What do you guys do on performance feedback review? Do you guys just let them have it and say all negative? Do you say all positive? I'm curious what you guys do. I tend to be more positive and optimist. So like this video, share this video. Don't forget to hit that red subscribe button down below. Also, you can become a part of our resume review program by emailing us at eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com. So email us there if you're interested in anything like that or just want to connect. And let me know what other videos in the comments you'd like us to see do. If there's any more questions about this, about performance reviews or anything like that, you can leave those down there as well. All right, guys, take care.